last question. So I interviewed Antonio Brown recently.
How'd that go?
Went pretty well, actually.
AB is the dude, but
went pretty well.
He going at.
We had, it was funny because we had 2 interviews that completely fell apart.
Okay, see, that's why I asked.
Completely fall apart.
I know AB.
But this one actually came together, and he sat and we did the whole life story piece, and he answered everything and everything else like that. He claims that the NFL buys players' brains after they die because they don't want the CTE info to come out.
He got receipts or he just said it?
Sounds like he was just saying it.
If you ever pass out, the NFL buy your brain. They tell nobody. They buy your brain.
Really?
Of course. They got
the NFL buys your brain after you die.
But literally, if you...
I had no idea.
Exactly. And no one have no idea.
Yo, that's
This
wild.
is that. Yeah, exactly. Because then they do a study. It's like, yo.
And they keep that private.
Of course they keep that.
All right, I see the hustle.
Yeah, so it's like, because think about it. If we play a football game, every guy could say they got something wrong with their brain when they're done playing because they've been smashed so much. So if the NFL don't have to pay guys for the rest of their life of a disability head injury where they make up, oh, hey, man, these guys died from this and this was the reason, but they can have something to blame it on, so there's no disability settlement.
Yeah.
Okay, sound like you. Sound like
Have
some
you ever heard of this as a former NFL player?
I mean, I don't know where to attack this, but it sounds like empty words. Look, it lands well with the suspicion that people have about the NFL protecting its players. So that's why you can say something like that. But I lost a teammate to CTE, Junior Seau. The NFL didn't buy his brain.
Did you know? Because he ended up killing himself, right? Didn't he? And he killed. Did he kill someone else or just himself?
No, just himself.
Just himself.
Shot himself in the heart to protect his brain.
Yeah.
Protect loosely, but just to preserve his brain. So
remember, I think he was like abusive with like his girlfriend or something like that. Or
I didn't hear that. Like, my thing was Junior was the light of the room. I just think it was life got too heavy for Junior because he always said yes. My theory, and I always tell people this, and I don't speak out of turn when I say this, he literally was the nicest person I ever met. But that's weird because when you the man, Junior Seau, Oceanside, USC, San Diego Chargers for most of his career, you in the same locale basically for 35 years. And his background with Samoan, he got family, his family like, yeah. It was so heavy, so he always said yes, yes, yes. Teammates, we walk into his restaurant, he comping everything. We trying to pay for it, he comping it. I think when he got to the point where he couldn't say yes to everything, he'd rather get out of this life than to have to start to say no and make those harder choices. But I don't believe that the NFL is doing all that. Like, people stupid. It's the same thing that happened with me with Columbia. Columbia don't give that much about Marcellus Wiley to leverage and risk all of these billions for that one player. Make sure that those accusations get hidden. Like, the NFL is making so much money, $100 million for one broadcast of one game on a Friday. You think they gonna say, hey, make sure you cover your tracks, but buy the brains.
Well, to be fair, CTE could bring it all down.
Talk to me. Well, look, the NFL certainly took a blind eye to it earlier.
If there is clear medical evidence that cannot be disputed that essentially everyone who plays the sport ends up getting messed up permanently.
Okay, that's vague.
There is, and I'm not talking about our lifetime. I'm talking about 100, 200 years down the line.
Okay.
But the NFL is thinking about that right now.
Of course, as it
They're
should.
thinking about, this is an organization that will go past our lifetime.
Yeah,
this is not just a player or a team.
Right.
Players and teams come and go.
Yeah, talk to me.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Supersonics are gone.
I feel you.
You know what I mean? They may come back, they may not, but whatever.
I feel you.
I'm just saying that at some point, listen, Aaron Hernandez, there was a lot of noise over what happened to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, they try to change the helmets. I remember one of the things with, Antonio was that he didn't want to wear the new helmets.
Well,
because he liked his helmet, but his helmet was no longer considered safe.
Helmets weren't used to protect you from brain injuries. They were used to protect you from skull fractures. So when they first went from leather to these harder helmets, it was because people were dying because their skulls were getting fractured. Now, the helmet tries its best to mitigate the impact of what can happen in a concussion. But it never, listen people, never will get rid of concussions, which contributes to CTE. But let me finish this sentence. CTE only exposed when you're dead. In every case that I have seen of CTE, it is a pre-existing condition before death that ignites, that catches on to circumstances in your life of despair. Whatever's going on in your life, basically is my theory, this is my $5 doctor theory, is going to trigger your CTE. Now, you blame the CTE. Okay. NFL is thinking this is just a branding exercise because the line to be in the NFL goes around the globe. So you saying it's going to go away? Never. You have fewer parents signing up for tackle football. Like me, my son plays flag.
Yeah, no, you said yourself that you won't let your kids play Pop Warner.
Nope.
You yourself played Pop Warner.
Yes.
But you don't want your kids to mimic what you went through because you're worried about their health.
No.
Right?
No.
You're not worried about their health.
Of course. Not only and not in priority. You know what happened? I got to the NFL. I met Drew Brees, met Antonio Gates. One guy didn't even play college football. One guy played flag growing up. And I was like, it's another way up here? Oh, you ain't got to take all them hits to get there. My son in high school, 9th grade, he still loves football. I said, we going to your favorite restaurant. We stay in there 3 hours like this interview, and we going to talk. I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm going to show you these fingers. I'm going to show you how it feels. I'm going to tell you how it feels. You still want to play football. And if you tap out, I don't hold it against you. If you want to go, I fully support you either way. But the NFL knows, look, we're not getting rid of brain injuries for football. You ain't get rid of it in soccer. You ain't getting it in anything there's head impact.
It's a different game. You can't compare the amount of damage you take in soccer that you take in.
There are stats that say soccer's more dangerous to your brain impact because of those headers. That's why they banned headers in soccer for youth. They ain't banned no hitting nobody as a youth. California trying to ban tackle football for kids. But this is my point. It's a messaging exercise. If you really want to keep it simple.
No, listen, you're the expert. I'm speaking from the outside. You know, for example, I've interviewed Warren Sapp a couple times. Yeah. He feels that he definitely has CTE. He says he has to write things down sometimes so he doesn't forget them.
Oh, really? My grandma did too.
But she's not
grandma didn't know where the keys were. Grandma, where the remote at?
She wasn't right there. As old as Warren Sapp, though.
Dude, stop.
She was much older. She was much older.
All right, this is an important point. Everybody's neighbor is worse than an NFL player. Can y'all stop? They're more violent. They in worse condition. Like, stop this shit. Like, y'all act like the doctor's office ain't full of just normal-ass people who didn't play in the NFL broke down.
Okay.
Like, y'all know how the game really is. Come on, man. Don't be trying to put this all on the league and on the players and the orange.
I feel you. I feel you. I'm just saying, though, as the world is becoming less violent and softer and cancel culture and, you know, the tides of the public and, look, you could just look at in our lifetime. You can't do an Eddie Murphy delirious stand-up in 2024. You can't use the F word and all the gay jokes and anything else like that.
You can for me. And Dave Chappelle comes as close as you can.
But he doesn't go as far as what Eddie did. Nope. He does not. He does not.
Transgender stuff is pretty racist.
No, it's different.
Bill Burr's a mother.
I'm just saying.
I love him.
Like,
we need that.
You could say the F word in movies, shows, music, whatever else, and nobody cared.
Yeah.
These days, people care a lot more.
Hell yeah.
There was no transgender rights back then. Now there is. No, there was no transgenders playing women's sports back then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now it's a thing. Like the world changes, the world evolves, and certain things that were perfectly normal.
Yeah.
In the 70s and the 80s, in the 2020s, is considered unacceptable.
You're right.
And that's okay. The world evolves. And at some point, they're going to look at, and it might even happen in boxing. They may say, listen, boxing without headgear is just not going to be legal anymore in America.
They're going to look like the amateurs out
It's
there?
going to look like the amateurs.
Yeah, that shit
I don't want to see it.
No, me.
You know, they may have to do it out in like Saudi Arabia where they don't give a shit about human rights. You know what I'm saying?
Here you go. You better stop that. Saudi Arabia, they're progressive now. They're trying to pay their way back into the future.
And it's working.
And it's working, right? Here's
All
my
the big
thing.
golfers are over there. The fights are now happening over there. I'm just saying that
Big funds.
the world becomes softer and more sensitive and more cuddly, and certain barbaric activities, which are considered totally normal, which I like to watch as well.
Barbaric activities.
Because it is somewhat I mean, listen, man, being a lineman, that's a hard fucking job.
Look,
Isn't it though?
It's a symphony.
Isn't it though?
It's a symphony.
Would you want to be a lineman?
I didn't want to be a football player, so I want to play basketball. I wasn't good enough. Shit. It's a symphony of violence, but there is a way to orchestrate it. There's a way to do it where, look, they gave me I don't know how many millions, and this is the worst. This is the worst. My back a little sore, the hip a little tight, and I love doing it. Stop playing with me. Now, there's things I love more, and of course, I don't want to die on the field. But I will say this. Stop saying that this world is softer now. That ain't right, because you're a part of this world too. You softer? No. You know what it is? You know what it is?
I think that I have to
What?
watch my mouth a lot more than I used to.
You scared. Damn, I ain't know.
I think I have to watch my mouth a lot more.
Lost for
I
that.
have to. Yeah, man. Listen, you can't be.
Let
you
me
can't
say
be
it.
the same person you were in the 80s.
Yes, you can. And that's the problem. You think you can't, so you ain't. Here's the thing. What we have now witnessed is not that we softer, is that those who don't want it, don't like it, can share and now have a community. Social media has empowered people, but they ain't changed them in terms of what I care about. So when you were growing up, your neighbor was soft, but he only was soft at home, and then daddy and mama, if they were there, was like, boy, you better stop. So he tucked it in, but he was soft. And now he can stay in that same room. Mama and daddy don't know and ain't yelling at him, stay hard. And he hit his boy next door. You soft too? Me too. You soft too? Me too. Now they got a group of soft. It's the same shit. It's just now we know. Because when I played, we only had newspapers and one TV show talking about football, it felt like. Now, in the middle of the play, somebody tweeting, look at this fool. And it's viral, right? We didn't communicate what we all were thinking and feeling back then. We are now. But that doesn't mean we different. It just means now we can share it.
Well, no. I mean, look.
I ain't soft.
During your time, you can get a concussion and go right back in the game.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't do that anymore.
That ain't soft. That was legislation. That was them getting taxed.
It is soft to a certain degree.
No, it's not. They got taxed.
Back then, dudes were a lot more hardcore. I don't give a fuck if I got a bruise on my brain. Put me back in, coach. Okay, go in. You want to play, go ahead and play. Now it's illegal to do that, right?
That don't mean it's softer. It means I do not want to spend any more millions because y'all got me in narrative. NFL took too long to address CTE. When I played, I never heard the term. When I retired in 06, 07. I never heard of CTE. All of a sudden, we got this issue, brain injuries. Okay, CTE. Ooh, you guys took too long. You knew it then. Okay, what's the settlements? We paying it. Now, we're going to change the rules. Changing the rules don't mean that the players are softer. It means you just can't do as much.
The game itself is softer, not the players. The game itself. You don't think there's a lot more penalties and fouls being called in the NFL now?
I think we are two ships going the same way, but different ships. I'm saying the player is still hitting.
No, I get that part.
He just can't hit the same places.
But the game has gotten more cautious, more softer, however you want to.
You keep putting it on the people, and I keep putting it on the game. That's
the game. Yeah, that's fine. I'm agreeing with you. It's the game. No, I'm not saying the people. No. The people.
Well, you did say it earlier.
Okay, my bad. What I meant is the game itself.
Okay.
The game itself is a lot more
and
softer.
I hope it gets softer so my son can play it if he's good enough. I want this shit to be powder puff and they make $100 million.
Yeah.
If we can get there, if we can make this game non-violent and we still love it the same, that's utopia.
Yeah.
But they ain't gonna do that because we want to see somebody get smacked. And guess what? We still see people get smacked. It just is not with the same frequency and not the same place. You ain't knocking nobody in their head consistently.
Well,
you can't.
I mean, I think that part of the reason why boxing is not what it was back in the 80s and 90s
Yeah.
is that all the really great athletes
Yes.
found easier ways to make money.
Yes. Now
Why
we
would I get in the
connected.
ring and get punched in the head over and over again, end up all fucked up by the end of my career? And I've interviewed, I'm not going to say who, but I've interviewed a lot of the heavyweights. They don't talk the same
No, they
into
all
their
punch
50s
drunk.
and 60s.
They are.
They're all punch drunk.
They're punch
You know,
drunk.
like Floyd Mayweather's the only one that you could say made hundreds of millions, is still perfectly lucid, and is
Yep.
ultra rich and is living his
Yep.
life and everything else like that. You look at the heavyweights,
Oh, man.
no.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these guys who would have been heavyweight world champions are like, nah, I'm going to play football instead. I'm going to play basketball instead. I'm going to find something a little bit safer, because it's also, the money's a little bit more guaranteed with these teams than trying to work my way up, you know.
That's real.
The boxing, levels.
Remember I told you the top of the athletic pyramid is basketball? Every single athlete wanted to do that. The bottom of the pyramid is boxing, and UFC right there. But what changes them, what's boxing suffering from, UFC is kind of thriving in, is the fact that UFC as a business is better ran than boxing. They messed it up with all the belts. They lost their athletes to the NFL. So the NFL in the 70s wasn't what it is now. But in the 80s, you start seeing, hey, the NFL could be all right? Redskins and the Cowboys and stuff.
Right.
In the 90s, and you're like, that's all right. So then a 6'4", 280 dude like me, if I'm born and I'm in my prime in the 70s, I'm trying to be heavyweight champion of the world.
Right.
I lose 20, 30 pounds and go get it. Where's Ali? Now I'm an 80s baby, 90s baby. Guess what I'm trying to do? Play DN. Because I'm like, that's where the incentives are, because the business is better there. But the business is best basketball, because you don't have to get taxed and you're going to get paid. Then baseball's right by there with football, because, you're going to get you're going to be on the road all your life in baseball. You're going to get your ass hit hard in football, but you getting paid, bruh. All they got to do, like you said, is make boxing either more incentives in terms of pay me more, or fix that business. If not, it's going to keep going down.
That's what it is. Marcellus Wiley, man. Been too long since our last one. Been way too long, man.
All right, sign this $100,000 you said. You gave OJ almost.
You want that same 100,000?
No, I don't.
Hey, man, go dig up OJ, We'll see where that gets us.
Respect the dead, man. You better stop. Love, brother.
No, man, listen, shout out to OJ. I never met him, man. At the end of the day,
Respect.
he was an incredible athlete. And he broke a lot of the barriers in terms of athletes doing movies and commercials and everything else like that.
Oh, yeah. And for black people, too. Remember, they wasn't giving those to athletes, or especially a black one. And he was like, I'll take both of those and go get it. Yeah,
and he ran with it, man. And, listen, he ultimately was found not guilty, whether you agree with it or not.
Right.
He managed to keep whatever money he needed to keep. You got to give him props for that.
I can't talk
And, man, rest in peace, OJ. Not a lot of people are saying it, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah. I don't care who it is. I don't know if I'm built just way different. You dead, that's dead. Like, it's just, like, you know what I mean?
That's true.
Rest in peace,
That's
man.
true. That's what it is. Marcel, till next time.
My dog.
Peace.